So I pulled the lawnmower out of storage this spring. We have a no start issue. It cranks fine, but does not start. So I'm thinking either fuel or spark, something like that. I put it away, really didn't do too much with the battery, didn't put a tender on it because I'm an idiot. And last fall it got really cold right away, started to snow, so I just kind of shoved it in the shed. It looks like mice have kind of built a nest up in the engine bay area, so kind of take that apart, clean that all out, and try to figure out what the issue is. We're going to be starting things off with a fresh battery. This was purchased from the John Deere dealership. It's about $100, which is expensive for it. And I'm just going to do a quick test real quick. If I can do this one-handed. There's the one-handed. And we're just under 12.48 volts. So we should be good to go. I'm gonna pop this thing in and then we'll go from there. So that was actually a pretty tight fit. There's not a whole lot of clearance with this. So I loosened up the radiator to allow it to slide in a little bit better. All that holds the battery in is just this little stretch cable here. Got the terminals connected, and 5 minutes into the project, we're bleeding. So we basically need three things to get this mower to run: fuel, spark, and air. First thing we're going to check is fuel. The easiest way to check this is going to be give a little spritz of starting fluid. We're going to spray this in there. This will provide enough fuel that if there is a spark, it should turn over, it'll crank, it'll fire, and then it'll die. If that happens, then we know that our problem is a fuel supply. This is basically giving it fuel to at least start. So we are going to spray this down into the carb and give it a try. So we're gonna pull off the air filter for this. It comes off pretty easily, 2 nuts on the top. And just give it a quick little spritz. That should be all we need. Well, that would have been too easy, I guess. So that did not work, which tells me that it's not really likely to be a fuel supply issue. The next thing that we're gonna check is, are we actually getting spark at the spark plugs? We're gonna hook a spark tester in line with the spark plug. It has a little light on it, so as you're cranking, it'll kind of be lighting up, letting you know that it's getting current through it. It's kind of like a test light. We're just gonna do each side. There's 2 spark plugs to test. We'll test them both, see what the problem is. I'll do this side first. Boot just pops off. This is the tester here. And we will just pop that guy on like that. One-handed. Oh, I'm gonna have to go get stitches later. Oh. All right, so we are connected and we will give this side a try. I have to hold it somewhere where I can see it though, to make sure that it's actually doing what it's supposed to be doing. No, I'll figure that out. So the spark test did not go great. I'm not getting spark on either side, and it's kind of weird that both of them would be bad. So I'm starting to think that this problem is possibly more serious than I actually want it to be. I do have 2 new spark plugs. We're gonna throw those in so I can eliminate that variable. I'll know that those are good. And maybe they both went bad. I doubt it. But at least we can cross that off the list and then proceed from there. Well, we just pulled the first spark plug out, and yeah, it's kind of oily, which, you know, isn't great. Get that cleaned up, get the new plugs in, give that a try. So with the 2 new spark plugs, we still have no spark. So the problem is deeper than that. Reading the manual, I was browsing through looking for troubleshooting tips and came across this little nugget of information. Using a booster battery pack to jumpstart the mower. Apparently, you're not supposed to do that with the battery connected. You're supposed to disconnect the negative side of the battery, you're supposed to hook up your booster to the positive side of the battery and then ground it on the frame of the machine, not the battery itself, because apparently that can cause voltage spikes and fry the electronic control unit. Doing a little research on the interweb, I feel like that's exactly what happened because I was doing that very activity this winter. So this is where this thing lives, right up under the dash. I pulled it out. It is right here. Sounds like the part's been superseded, which is pretty typical for everything John Deere. So I think my next stop is to replace that module. Again, internet research confirms that that will most likely fix my issue. So we're at a standstill for now. We will revisit this hopefully soon. Just got back from the dealership. Here is the new part, superseded part number. And there is the price. Over $100 for this silly little thing. So we'll put it in and hopefully it fires right up. So it fired right up, so that was obviously the problem. Again, I caused that problem kind of myself by jumping it over the winter. When the battery died, I hooked a jump pack up to it. It was cold out, which again, the owner's manual is advising against jump starting the battery the way that I did, and also jump starting any battery in cold temps. It says it wants the battery at 60 degrees Fahrenheit to start it. So yeah, that's a problem and a mistake that I'll probably never make again. But as far as the no start issue is concerned, we have fixed our problem.